Second big important thing, key people in key spots. Key people in key spots. I get called by people all over the world. And here's the nature of the call. Hey Jack, I'd love for you to help me grow my company in a very, very fast, strong fashion. And I said, well, I appreciate the call today. Do you have an organization chart that you could email attach while we're on the phone? And so that's what I get. An org chart that looks a little bit like that. The person who called me is this person, the CEO, owner, entrepreneur. Then there's somebody that's in charge of the sales force. Then there's somebody that's in charge of the operations. So these are the promise makers, and these are the promise keepers, right? Then we got the financial person, someone who's watching the money, bank relations, margins. Might have an IT person here, or whatever those key positions are. Now, everyone in this room, every one of us has biases. We all have them. Here's one of mine. When it comes to growing a business, when that's what I get the call of, I'd like you to help grow my business at an exponential rate. When it comes to growing a business, the most important position in the entire company is whoever is running the sales force. Because in most businesses, if you want to grow your sales force in quantity and quality, and the person who's responsible for that is right there. So, I do a lot of work with small to medium-sized companies that aspire to, I want to grow my business in a significant way. And so, I can tell you this, and it's a sad note for you. The majority of companies who are small to medium stay small to medium. There are very few that pop it. What do I mean by pop it? In 1993, I built one of my companies. 5 years later, in 1998, we had 5 years of business. After 5 years of business and you're privately held, you can apply for something called the Inc. 500. That's Inc. Magazine's 500 fastest growing privately held companies in the U.S. You have to submit all of this data and your audited financials. In 1998, after 5 years of business, we submitted all that packet of information and we waited for the magazine to come out, hoping to make the list, and we came out number 10 on the list with 10,100% growth. Mass amounts of growth. The majority of small to medium-sized companies don't do that. They don't bust loose. And I've been kicking around with small to medium-sized companies for 20 years, and I ask this question all the time. Why is that? Why? And I have come to the conclusion that many of them are not busting out because they're guilty of committing what I now have called the 3 sins of sales management. And on page number 4, I made a separate worksheet of it. And here's what I can tell you. As I stand here today in Alexandria, Louisiana, I can guarantee you we have sinners in the house. Guaranteed. Sin number 1. The CEO, owner, entrepreneur also is wearing the hat of the sales manager. See this guy here? CEO, owner, entrepreneur, been that guy. I've been that guy over and 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 over. And I know that job really well, and here's what I learned about this job. If you do this job well, and you work on the things that are needed to do that job well, it's full time. That's what I learned. So this job here, recruit, train, coach, build, develop salespeople, I've been that guy several times. You know what I learned? That's at least full time. So, I have you on the phone. You called me and said you want me to help you grow your business. I asked you for the org chart. You bring me the org chart over the email, and now I want to ask you some questions, and this is what I find. You have a full-time person here, full-time person here, full-time person here, full-time person here, but the most important position in the entire company, you say, I'm going to do both of those. By definition, what you've just done is you've decided to grow your company part-time. Every moment that you spend doing this work here, you just stunted the growth of your company. I'm not saying this is unimportant. I'm saying it's so important somebody needs to have that job. But every moment that you're doing this, if you're wearing both hats, you're not doing that, and that's recruiting, training, coaching, building, and developing salespeople. Inc. number 10 on the Inc. 500. Let me give you just one component part. I had two partners in that business. They were both 15 years younger than I am. First time I ever took partners on. And 15 years difference was really, really significant. Not only was I not doing all the work, but they treated me as if I was Yoda. Even when I was making shit up, they didn't know. The wise one. I convinced Mark and Brett that if we're serious about this channel of business that we're talking about getting into, I thought that I could hyper grow it, and I didn't want to take a small piece of space and see if we'd be successful. I wanted to take a big building and make it successful. So we had a long debate, and we finally came to an agreement, and we took a long-term lease on 25,000 square feet of space, and we moved in with our total employees of 15. You know what that space looks like? Hello, 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 hello. 3 rooms of 8,000 square feet apiece. 2 of them we left empty and no furniture and left the lights off. 1, 8,000 square feet, we turned the light on. We put 20 pieces of systems furniture in there. And I turned the marketing dollar on and the phone started to ring. It was an inbound sales center. We were going to make the phone ring with radio, television, direct mail, all of those types of things. And here's what I had a choice. Out of the 15 people, every one of them would have told you I was the best sales guy in the house. You know what I could do? I'd put a headset on, take the calls, put some deals down, and bring in some cash, and bring in some revenue. It's what I could have done. Or I could have gone over here and wore the sales manager hat, recruit, train, coach, build, and develop salespeople. This is what I did. 15 months later, we had 275 people in the building. 130 of them were salespeople, and the building was generating $1 million a month in profits. If I did this over here, there's only so many calls I can make, so many calls I can take, and so many orders I can write. It's important. But here's what I would say. If I don't do that, and I do this over here, and I were able to recruit 10 salespeople and train them on what I know and do, they'll beat me all day long. Forget about 10. How about taking 10 and turning it into 20? Taking 20 and turning it into 40. Liz had 7, and we went to 410, and she's not done yet. Wow. What do you want? What's your vision? Is what I'm talking about consistent with your vision, and then it's a matter of having the courage to do this. Having the courage to do that. Do you know that I have met some owners of businesses that are committing sin number 1, that love this sales management job and are damn good at it? You know what I tell them? Keep this job. Own the company and hire you one of them guys. Oh, but I should be the CEO, even if I stink at it and don't like it. Egos get in the way of so many small businesses getting out of their way. Sin number 1. Sin 2. We take the best salesperson that we have in the company. Anybody want to take a guess what we do with them? There we go. Way to go, Jerry. We take them and make them the sales manager. Now, have I ever seen it work? The answer is yes. Just not often. What often happens is you lose your best salesperson and get a mediocre sales manager in the trade. They're entirely different jobs. Salesperson. Win new customers, grow the ones you have, differentiate yourself from the competition. Somebody does that really well, and you make them the sales manager. Recruit, train, coach, build, and develop salespeople. Nothing that I just said over here did that person do over there. And this person over here, the salesperson, lives in a world called immediate gratification. Got a sale, pumped to get another one. Got a sale, pumped to get another one. Sales management, the land of no immediate gratification. Recruiting and hiring a top sales guy could take over a year. So well watered here, no water over here. Human being, what are we going to do? Pivot. Hey, let me sell something. Let me sell something. CEO says, no, you don't sell stuff anymore. Get back over here. Now, if you do this long enough to this person, what do? They leave. To do what? Sell. For who, do you think?
Competition.
Competition. Look at what we've done. Lost our best sales guy, send him to our competitor, and have no sales manager. And by the way, an awful lot of people are smirking and laughing. Tell me why. Tell me. Oh, yeah. All I did was arrive here today with a big mirror and say, look at what you people are doing. This is real world, guys. Small to medium-sized companies are staying small to medium, and it's being driven by us. And when I run into the third sin, I want to jump off the roof of the building as long as it's high enough that I'll die when I land, because I don't want to get repaired and then have to deal with you again. Look at this one. We take the best salesperson, we make them the sales manager, and say, continue with your book of business and sell. And now I'm completely clueless. I have no idea how that person is supposed to be successful. Look. See this guy here, number 3? He had the best year he ever had in his entire life, and he was the number 1 salesperson in your company, and number 2 wasn't even close. Do you know what we would do with that person that year? We would praise them, we would reward them, we would recognize them, we'd give them plaques, we'd give them trips, we'd give them prizes, we would do all kinds of things, and guess what? Every single thing you did to them was awful. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Because every moment this person became the new number 1 salesperson with a landslide of business, they didn't leverage the growth of their company and didn't spend it over here. I'm number 3. I tell my 5 salespeople, we're having a sales meeting Tuesday morning, 8 a.m., don't be late. At 7:45, I get a phone call from my best customer who says, I'm really pissed off. You and I need to talk for at least 45 minutes, and we need to talk now. It's 7:45. Do I hold the meeting at 8 o'clock on time, or do I take that call? What am I doing?
Hold the meeting.
In most cases, I'm going to take the call. But what I should do is hold the meeting. But we're going to take that call. And those 5 people are going to sit in that conference room and say this: never will I follow that guy again. Because all he cares about is his own production, and he's costing me my income and my production. I ask owners of businesses that put people in this position, I ask them, how does this guy spend their time? Almost every business owner tells me this: well, I would guess about 50-50. And I said, you would guess? And what do you, work in a carnival and do age and weight too? Come on, how do you not know this stuff? By the way, I could tell you. How much did they make last year? What percent came from selling and what percent came from sales management? Oh, well, 90% came from selling. And if 90% of their income came from selling, then tell me what they did. They sold. Every one of these is an example of we, the business owner leader, deciding to grow our company at less than it could be. Provocative stuff. I suspect I'm making people uncomfortable in the room. I'm having a good time doing that too. Because you need to hear this message whether you like the message or not. Back on the prior page, I had 3 things that were important. One was vision. One was key people and key spots. And the third is culture. Every one of the businesses in this room right now has a culture. I could walk into your company right now and I could tell you what your culture smells like within 30 minutes of arrival. You can smell a company's culture. So I would write a couple things under the word culture. How does our company's culture smell right now? Smelling good? Or does it stink? Stinks. And here is the big question to write down. Do you have a culture by design, or do you have a culture by default? Has someone sat down and said, this is what we want our culture to be? Or is it growing like mold, just sort of happening? Norm Brodsky is a regular contributor to Inc. magazine. Here was an article I pulled out of the magazine one month. Defining and enforcing your company's culture may be your most important job. Boom. Loud noise in my ears. Here's Fred Wilson. He's a founder and co-partner of a venture capital firm. Venture capitalists accumulate money from people that are deep-pocketed, put them into companies that are fast-growing companies with the idea that they're going to get a significant return on their investment in a relatively short period of time. Typical window, less than 5 years. Notice how I described the venture capitalist has nothing to do with your success, all to do with their return on investment. Okay? Here's what Fred Wilson says. You have to start with culture, values, and a commitment to creating a fantastic workplace. You can't fake these things. They have to come from the top. They are not bullshit. They are everything. Southwest Airlines. I'm on the plane, and I pick up the magazine to kill some time. And here's Gary Kelly, the current CEO of Southwest. The Southwest culture, our secret sauce. I start laughing in the seat on the plane. It's on every magazine, on every plane, in every seat. How secret is it, Gary? But here's one of the things that I picked out of the article. Your business plan is what you are, but culture is who you are. I ask 3 things of our employees every day. Work hard, have fun, and take care of each other. So I want to give you a definition to write down under that word culture on that page there. Page 3. Here's my definition. Want to versus have to. Want to go to work versus have to go to work. I'm going to give you a very easy test now to take back to your company to get just an early indicator of what your culture's like. Bring 3 individuals into your company that you have a high regard for. Some 3 different individuals that are in your life that you have a respect for as a business person. And I want them to ask 3 different people each one question in a survey. It's just a 1-question survey. And once they've accumulated the answers from 3 people, so 3 people are going to go in, they're going to talk to 3 people, that'll be 9 different people that we interacted with. This one question. Tell me what the company does and how it goes about doing it. Tell me what the company does and how it goes about doing it. Now, when they're finished getting those answers, take those 3 people to lunch and say, what did you hear? Now, in the debrief, if this is what goes on, well, they said, they do this, they do that, they do this, they do that. I'm going to tell you that's a caution, and it sounds like you're not having a good culture there. What I'm looking for the employees to say is this: we do this, and we do this. So the question I ask for you today on culture is, do you have a they culture or a we culture? I meet with owners of businesses And a lot of times I'll meet with them at the end of the day. I do it strategically. At about 10 minutes after 5, I'll get up out of my seat and walk around the owner's office. And typically it's a corner office and it's overlooking the parking lot, and I'll look outside and it looks like we're the only two guys in the building that didn't get the note about the bomb scare. And there's only one way that people could have coordinated all leaving at the same time, and that is if they've been watching their clock for the last hour saying, when do I get out of prison and not have to be here any longer? Do you know every one of my companies that I built, I wanted the people that worked in them to forget about the clock and find themselves from time to time getting called by their spouse at work and saying, are you all right? Where are you? Oh, I got so wrapped up in what I was doing and having so much fun, I lost track of time. I'll be home in 30 minutes. Want to go to work or have to go to work? What is it in your company? What is it in your company? I can tell you this, Southwest Airlines has a kick-ass culture. And do you know what else? They're over 40 years old with over 40,000 employees, and they've made a profit every single year they've been in business. And I'm 225 to 250,000 air miles a year, and I can tell you that it's fun to ride that plane. The people make it fun. They look like they enjoy what they're doing. Do you know that if I were a Southwest Airlines employee, my name badge would say Jack Daly? Do you know the other airlines what it would say? J. Daly. How do you have a conversation with J. I try all the time. Hey, J. How's your day going? What? J. It's on your badge. I'm assuming that's what you want me to call you. Somebody isn't thinking. Southwest Airlines, I know what they're going to be wearing. They're going to be wearing a golf shirt, Southwest Airlines written on it, shorts, khakis in winter, and what do they got on their feet? Sneakers, running shoes. Kind of like, hey, if I could dress any way I want, I'd probably put this on today. Now think about the other airlines. No one will voluntarily pick that stuff out. So every morning you wake up and take the death walk to the closet. Why are they making me? Because they made me wear this, I'm going to treat every customer I come into contact with like crap. 4 key ingredients to a great culture. Let me give them to you. I call them the 4 legs of a strong culture. 1, recognition systems. What are your systems to ensure regular ongoing recognition? Not when you happen to be in a good mood and you throw somebody a bone, but consistent ongoing recognition. People are starving for it. And I'll tell you what, you see this tool right here? I think it's one of the finest management tools ever to be created. Right here, blank sheet of paper. What is your name?
Ray.
Ray. So Ray works in my company. I come in early that morning, I stop at his desk and I write him a note, blank sheet of paper. Ray, gosh, I was thinking this morning on the drive in how much your customers really appreciate you and how much you go the extra mile for them. And I got to tell you, since you've been with us, the company's grown by X percentage, and it just seems like everybody in the company enjoys working with you. I just wanted to say thanks for all the work that you do, and sometime let's go out and share a beer or two together. Jack, I leave it on his desk. Make a difference in his behavior that day? How about a week? You think about for a week? How about for a month? How about this? How about a lifetime? You know, people keep these. People keep these. I spoke to 275 business owners in Chicagoland. I spent 4 hours talking about culture. At the end of my 4-hour presentation, this guy comes up to me and he says, Jack, I wish more owners of businesses understood how important this culture thing was. He said, I'm the 2nd generation owner of my company. My dad passed away prematurely and we looked to the left and right and I got the job. I never thought that I'd be that guy. But I had an employee pass away this year and I went to their funeral, and at the funeral they invited everybody back to their home for cold cuts. I'd never been to this man's home. I needed to use the bathroom, and I walked down this narrow hallway, and hanging on the wall, behind an 8.5 by 11 frame, 2 of them, were 2 handwritten notes that my dad had written that individual employee over 2 decades ago. But somehow they don't get done because you guys are working on something more important. I spent 4 hours talking about culture in Chicago to 275 business owners. When I finished my 4 hours, I told them, I'm going to give you the single sentence why I think most people fail on culture. Here it is. People and companies tend to underperform to their capabilities because we rush to the urgent at the expense of the important. People and companies tend to underperform to their capabilities because we rush to the urgent at the expense of the important. Well, if I don't get this done today, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it another day. When does that come? Never. Prioritize recognition systems and watch your company's behavior change. You want people to come in the morning wanting to be there or having to be there? Lane and Gary gave me an invite to be here today. And I was really glad that it was a Tuesday and not a Wednesday. I'm very active in social media. Man, Wednesday's a tough day for me. If I have to see another camel on Facebook, get a life. Go find something you're passionate about. Quit complaining about what you do. Want to go to work or have to go to work? Where are you? Where are the employees in your company? You create an environment where people want to go to work, man, nobody's going to beat you now. That's what I've learned. 4 legs. Second leg, communication systems. The number 1 complaint on HR surveys is, I wish I knew more about what was going on. And I wish when they talk to me in the company about where we're going, I wish that it was with more integrity and not spin. More frequency and more integrity in the communication. Third, personal and professional development processes. Why should I come to work in your company, and once there, why should I stay? And fourth, empowerment processes. Creating an environment in the company where the people who work in it feel comfortable making decisions as if they were the owner. The worst thing that you can have as a salesperson is put a salesperson in the field and then have me as a salesperson say to the customer, I'm really glad to hear that you want to do business with us, and I'll get back to you in a couple days. I need to get approval from somebody. That'd be the end of that deal for me. Get out, never come back, and your company should never send anybody out in the field without the authority to do the deal. If you don't trust your employees, get new employees. But if you have salespeople, for God's sake, let us sell. So it's the moment that's key. So John Kotter, Kotter, he is known worldwide as the guru of culture. He's a professor at Harvard. He's a New York Times bestseller author. And he took 10 years of his life and he studied cultures of companies that really spent time building the systems and processes of culture. And then he looked at how they performed. And then he compared that with companies that ignored the culture for the most part and saw their performance. And he came out with 4 big things. I want to share those 4 things with you. The first was revenues. Revenues increased 682% versus 166%. In the culture-rich companies, 682%. In the culture-deficient companies, 166. More than 3 times the revenues in culture-rich companies. Second, stock prices. You don't have to be traded publicly for stock prices to matter, because stock price is just another name for the value of your company. Check this out. In the culture-rich companies, stock prices increased 901%. In the culture-deficient companies, 74%. Culture-rich companies worth more than 10 times if you put it up for sale. Third, net income. Net income increased 756% versus 1. Barely able to make payroll versus creaming it on the bottom line. All the other American airlines are losing money. Southwest is minting money. They're the ones with the rich culture. And fourth is job growth. Job growth increased 282% versus 36%. Every one of the businesses in this room already has a culture. The question is, do you have one by design or by default? I know this much about business. If I own a business and all I did was own that page and get that page right, you'll have a thriving, growing, robust, successful business. If you're a business owner in this room right now, I would tell you to walk out of here today and own that page. Stone that page. And I think about people that are building unbelievable companies today. The leaders of the company, the owners of the company, that's what they do. I have an opportunity now as a speaker to speak on the stage with rock star speakers. I've spoken a half a dozen times at the same time Richard Branson is addressing the audiences that I'm addressing. I've spoken with Herb Kelleher, the guy who started up and ran Southwest Airlines for the first 30-some years. Herb Kelleher said he felt like I took that page right off of his desk. Richard Branson says that he feels as though he was born with an advantage to being a successful entrepreneur and business owner because he was born dyslexic, which means that if he got involved in the day-to-day, all he would do is screw it up. So he hires key people to go in the direction of his vision, and the rest of the time he spends being the cheerleader of the company. These examples are all around us, and yet we ignore them. Here's what I want to tell most of the people in this room, if not all of you. You're so stuck in the weeds of the day-to-day, you can't grow your company successfully. And it's our choice. And don't tell me, well, if I had the kind of money that Richard Branson had, I'd spend that cheerleading time. No. He did it when he didn't have money. That's how he got the money. One came before the other. It was the culture that preceded the money.